Hi, I'm Jackie, and if you're considering buying a home in Cupertino, this is a neighborhood you may not have come across yet. This is Rancho Deep Cliff, a gated community tucked into the Cupertino foothills. And today I'm going to drive you through the entire neighborhood so that you can get a better idea of what it's actually like to live here. The reason I'm here today is 11123 Canyon Vista Drive, which at the time I'm filming this is listed for $999,000. I'll tell you a little bit about that home, but more importantly, I want to show you the community around it. Because when you're buying a home in the Bay Area, you're not just buying the house. The neighborhood and the lifestyle that come with it can be just as important. Rancho Deep Cliff also has a community pool and spa, tennis courts, a clubhouse, and a fitness center, so it's a little different from your typical Cupertino neighborhood. As we start driving through, one of the first things you'll probably notice is how different this feels from a lot of Cupertino. You're tucked back into the foothills. There are mature trees throughout the community, and you're surrounded by a lot more greenery than you might expect this close to Silicon Valley. Rancho Deep Cliff sits on roughly 18 acres and has just over 60 homes, so it feels relatively small and private. And because it's a gated community, you're also not getting much through traffic coming through here. For someone who wants to live in Cupertino but doesn't necessarily want to feel like they're right in the middle of the city, this is definitely an interesting option worth checking out. Another thing I like about driving through this community is that you can see the variety in the homes. Most of Rancho Deep Cliff was developed in the late 1970s, but the properties, they don't all look exactly the same. You'll see some different layouts, different elevations, and a mix of homes that have been updated throughout the years. Some feel much more original to the era they were built, while others have been renovated and modernized quite a bit. So even though this is an HOA community, it doesn't have that overly uniform new development feel where every home is identical. And if you're considering buying an older home in the Bay Area, I think it's really helpful to look at the entire neighborhood like this. It gives you an idea of what different renovations can look like, how the community has aged, and what kind of potential some of these properties may have. So you'll probably also notice how quiet it feels as we get further into this neighborhood. The homes are surrounded by established landscaping, and the foothill setting gives parts of Rancho Deep Cliff a lot more privacy than you might even expect in Cupertino. And that truly is the trade-off that you're making here. If your priority is being able to walk out your front door and immediately be around restaurants, shops, and a busy downtown, this probably isn't the first neighborhood that I would show you. But if you like a quieter setting, more greenery, a gated entrance, and community amenities, while still being connected to Cupertino and the rest of the South Bay, Rancho Deep Cliff starts to make a lot more sense. That's why I always tell buyers that two homes with similar prices can offer completely different lifestyles depending on where they're located. 11123 Canyon Vista is a good example of the type of opportunity you can sometimes find in a community like this. It's a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath home with just under 2,100 square feet and an attached 2-car garage. The home itself needs a significant renovation, which is part of why the listing price is where it is. But for a buyer who's open to taking on a project, you're starting with a pretty substantial amount of space in Cupertino, and you have the opportunity to renovate it to fit your own style. Location-wise, you're near Stevens Creek County Park and Deep Cliff Golf Course, and you're tucked towards the western side of Cupertino, closer to the foothills. But you're still connected to the rest of Cupertino, the South Bay, and major Silicon Valley employment centers. So I think Rancho Deep Cliff makes the most sense for a buyer who wants Cupertino, but prefers something a little quieter and more private than a traditional residential neighborhood closer to the center of town. If amenities are important to you, you like having more greenery around you, or you simply want something that feels a little different from the neighborhoods you'd typically see around Silicon Valley, this could be worth knowing about. Hopefully this drive gave you a better idea of what Rancho Deep Cliff actually looks like and feels like beyond what you can see just in listing photos online. If you're thinking about moving to Cupertino or anywhere in the South Bay, and you're trying to figure out which neighborhoods fit the lifestyle you're looking for, that's exactly what I help my clients with. You can reach out to me anytime using my information below. And if there's another South Bay neighborhood you want me to drive through next, please leave it in the comments. My name is Jackie Wilson with Compass, and I'll see you in the next one.